New Transformers game. New Turtles game. New Arabian Nights game.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Houston. I'm the editor of Pinball Magazine, and welcome to this new episode of this Pinball Industry News PINcast. And as always, I'm joined by...
Hi, I'm Martin Ebb, and I'm the editor of Pinball News, and Jonathan and I are here to look back in this new PINcast through the month of May 2026 and the first couple of days of June as well. Because
Indeed we are.
Yes, we delayed recording this by a couple of days just so we could include a particular event, which we'll get to a little bit later. But we might as well dive straight in because it's been quite a month, as you can tell from our headlines. 3 new games to talk about, or are they new? And 3 familiar titles with Transformers, Turtles,
and Arabian Nights. Awfully familiar.
Yeah, I know. It's almost, without wishing to tempt fate or talk about a future design, almost like Back to the Future. But that's not a game we're talking about at the moment. So let's dive straight in with the first of those. And of course, we're talking about Stern Pinball, and they have revealed their Transformers More Than Meets the Eye game, which of course is a Hasbro license based on the Transformers TV series and a little bit of the movie
animated series.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is from the 70s, I suppose.
I think it's 80s, but doesn't matter.
Okay, I was looking at some of the
I think
graphics.
they reran those for God knows how many years on Saturday mornings.
They're probably still running somewhere on some channel. A design by Elliot Eisman with software lead from Elizabeth Geiske, which is her first lead on this. Elliot's not Elliot's first game, of course. He did John Wick previously.
Right.
It's a 3-flipper, 6-ball game, and surprisingly, I actually had a chance to play it today. Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, this is actually something we'll talk about a little bit later because there's a trade event in London today. Yes, they had a Transformers Pro game there, so did have a good chance to play. I don't know, three games, maybe 4. Didn't want to hog the machine because obviously it's quite an attraction and quite a rarity. I don't think that game has been anywhere outside the Stern factory up until now. So that was a bit of a coup. And it was, as I said, it was a Pro machine which doesn't actually have anything that transforms on it, which is maybe a little disappointing for a Transformers game. Although
it's a bit of a downer.
It is. The Pro and doesn't have anything. The Premium and LE has Megatron that shoots the ball from a cannon mounted on Megatron's shoulder. There's no transformation of Optimus Prime, although it is shown on the display from the cartoon series. There's various rumours or suggestions as to why Optimus Prime doesn't transform. Some people say that it's because they tried to get it to work and couldn't get it to work reliably, the transformation. Others people say it was taken out because it was too expensive for a mechanism.
That sounds absurd.
Well, I don't know which one of those it is, but in the end, he ended up with a rather unattractive looking Optimus Prime model that maybe should transform but doesn't. Interestingly, in one of the teaser videos, you can see him in the transition or transform state, where he's down on the playfield level and turned into the truck. But that's only a sort of very brief glimpse that was in there. So it wasn't intention to do it, but it doesn't anyway. In the LE and Premium editions, the other animating thing is Soundwave model on the right hand side that has a cassette sort of open flap that opens and releases balls that have been locked inside him. On the Pro, that is a flat plastic, so all locks are virtual. and on the upper models there's a model on the left-hand side, the name of which I forget. It's a kind of dinosaur type character, and that again is a flat plastic in the Pro. But I have to say it was still fun to shoot, and had some nice flowing shots, and quite tight, and quite tough, I would say as well. Those slingshots really do fire the ball straight down the outlane if they get the slightest chance to do so. And there's also a single pop bumper on the right-hand side as well, just above the slingshots, which also does a very similar thing. So it was a tough playing game, and that's with the post on the outlanes in the middle position. It wasn't wide open or anything like that. So you have to be very, very careful about that. But even so, still had some good fun playing it. Got through to I think is the mini wizard mode on the game, which is
that's not a good sign. You play your first game and you reach the mini wizard mode.
Well, not so. It wasn't the first game; it was the second. But yeah, it was. There's a lot more to go into it, I think, yet. But it was released with surprisingly complete code. So kudos to Stern for doing that. What's interesting, I suppose, we can also say that it came out with the regular Cornerstone game pricing of just under $7,000 for the Pro, 9.7K for the Premium, and 13 for the LE. But what was interesting there was they actually started including recommended retail pricing for Europe and the UK, with prices in euros and pounds, which I think is the first time they've done that, which will probably link to something we're going to talk about in a minute, as far as Stern goes. But yes, as of course they had their media day at the Stern factory to release the game.
Yes, I got an invite, but not a plane ticket.
Yes, yeah, same here. But Mick Brown was able to attend it for Pinball News and got some interesting information. They were quite a little more reticent to allow people to record things this time as well. I think there's a certain amount of licensor approval pending on some of this stuff. So I was talking to Gary Stern about it, and saying that it would be really good if you can actually have the game completely done when you come to launch it, rather than it always seems like every time they launch a game, it just about makes it to that point. They can just about show enough of it to give an impression of how it's going to be when it's complete, well, software complete at least. So it'd be really nice if you could actually have a game completely done and then release it. They didn't think that was particularly likely anytime soon, because as he said, they always try and tie things in with licensor events as well. So if there's like a 40th anniversary of Transformers or something on a particular day, then the licensor will want to launch the game in collaboration with that and to fit around their plans, rather than when it suits Stern. But it's from our point of view, it's a bit tricky when we only get like a week's notice that there's going to be a media event, and it's like, well, what are we meant to do? Drop everything and fly over to Chicago for that?
Right.
Yeah. Not going to happen, I suspect. But
right.
But they still get plenty of people stateside going there and doing their socials and their streams.
Right. So, and while Martin was not able, neither was I, by the way, to attend this media event, of course, he did write a very in-depth article on the reveal of the game with plenty of pictures, and you have it. And because I was very busy, I didn't.
Well, I was very busy as well because I'd just come back from Austria.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't actually get any of the assets in advance this time.
Neither did I, which is a reason for me not to pay any attention to it.
Yeah, so I had to bug them and get them afterwards.
Right. Right. So, just to explain to our listeners, I'm busy enough during the day, and no pinball company can expect me to drop everything because they just revealed a new game. No, I'm busy working with the stuff, and I expressed to Stern Pinball in the past. There's this thing called embargo, where you send your release assets up front. So I have time actually to write an article instead of just copy pasting a press release. And I figured, like, well, there's too many people already copy pasting a press release. I don't need to do that anymore. So
Yeah.
I'll be more than willing to write about new games coming up, but I need time to write a decent article. So, and if I'm not given any materials under embargo up front, and I don't see why not, because we have a reputation to keep up high. So, um,
Well, Stern,
I
Stern,
just,
Stern have done that in the past, but they seem to be quite sporadic. Well, they have a marketing company who deals with all this kind of stuff.
yeah, and then
And
you run into a brick wall and you never get a reply.
yeah, yeah. Well, you have to get Zach. Sorry, have to get Zach Sharp to bug their marketing company to send the assets that you need, and then they do. They say, but you have to do that in advance, and give them plenty of notice, because otherwise they won't
Right.
send it until like an hour before, which is useless.
Well, yeah. So, and I get it in the sense that, sure, they want the most traction on their social media and not so much someone else's social media, although you want that as well. But still, priorities for me
Mm.
at least. So,
Yes. Well, anyway, I was talking about the pricing on the game, and so as we previewed in last month's PINcast, there's been a change to some of Stern's European distribution. Uh,
yes.
this month in particular, there's been an announcement about the UK market, where traditionally Electrocoin were the sole importers and distributors of Stern Pinball games, and everybody else in the country who wanted to sell the games had to buy them through Electrocoin. And of course, Electrocoin had their margins, and all the resellers had their margins, so it ended up with prices being higher than they necessarily would be. Well, now Pinball Heaven have been added as new distributors for Stern Pinball alongside Electrocoin. So now there are two companies which can import games, and it does mean that Pinball Heaven can sell games direct to home buyers and to operators as well at Stern's recommended retail price, without having to buy games for Electrocoin and pay their markup. So if you go to the Pinball Heaven website, for instance, you'll find the latest Transformers game on there at the recommended retail price that was in Stern's press release, with tax added on top, which is 20% VAT.
Hmm.
All Stern's prices, of course, don't include tax anywhere, because that varies across the country, across the globe. So yes, it also means that Electrocoin are able to sell to the home market as well, if they wanted to do that. So traditionally, they've only really sold to operators and the trade, because they don't really have the infrastructure in place to support repairs and servicing of home games, unlike
Hmm.
Pinball Heaven. And then all the other home buyers, Home Leisure Direct, and to name but just one. But there are plenty of other companies who sell Stern Pinball games, who do supply them and offer service and support. And so, yes, it's a bit of a shake-up in the UK market there. I suspect there were a few noses out of joint with that latest announcement. Um, Not least at Electrocoin, who are no longer the sole importers. So it was interesting to see that today at in London at the Electrocoin office, there was an event held, an annual event called the Park Avenue Open Day. And this is a sort of trade-only event run by Electrocoin and a fellow coin-op distributor company, UDC, which stands for United Distributing Company. They're the two big distributors of coin-op and manufacturers in many cases of coin-op games. Electrocoin certainly make a lot of slot machines, and also pushers, I think, too. But it's kind of like an industry-wide event, and it's not just them, Electrocoin and UDC's games that are there. All sorts of manufacturers bring their games along. It's a big social event, and there's also catering and drinks and chance to talk business and or talk nonsense, and also to try out some of these latest games. And that was indeed where I was able to play the Transformers game today.
Right.
It had a Transformers, a Pokemon, and a Dungeons and Dragons set up. So that was a nice event, and so Gary Stern and John Buscaglia from Stern were both there. John, as we know, and we've spoken about before, is going to be heading up the European office in Amsterdam.
If that ever happens, yes.
Yeah. We're talking about when that might be likely to happen. He certainly would like to move over to live in Amsterdam before the end of the year. But no.
That's what he said last year.
Well, I didn't say which year, I suppose, maybe. Or the end of a year. Yes. But I think this is all part of Stern's plans to introduce more distributors across Europe and bring down pricing in the continent, which has always been a bit of a bugbear. Everybody says, why are prices so high for Stern games in Europe? And there's always been, you have to ship the games over, then you have to go through a distributor, and they have to be resold. Well, we've seen other, like in Germany now, there are other resellers. Indeed, Freddy's Pinball Paradise are one of those, and they are, interestingly, are advertising that they can sell Stern pinball machines worldwide. So not just anywhere within Germany, or indeed within Europe.
Right. Okay. So, if I may comment on that, not so much the Freddy Pinball Paradise thing, but if the plan is to introduce more distributors across Europe, then why is it that so far all we've seen is existing resellers becoming distributors, but I don't see any new parties being added to the mix?
Well, I think, as I said, I think it's an intention to bring the price down by cutting out a layer of markup on Stern machines. So, and also, like in Germany, it's KMS Handel were the sole importers, but they weren't supposed to be selling to the home market. They were leaving that to Freddy and Pinball Universe.
Pinball Universe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now they can all import and they can all sell to home buyers as well. So with that, it means that Pinball Universe and Freddy's don't have to do, like Pinball Heaven did and charge and take suffer from a markup from the importer because they can do it themselves.
Yeah.
So it's more distributors and hopefully lower prices for everyone.
Well, it's technically the same parties that were already offering Stern games.
Yeah, rather than being resellers, they're full distributors. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm just waiting for, if you want to sell more games, then you have to tap into new markets maybe and get new distributors or people that have not been, or companies that have not been distributing pinball machines yet.
Well, yes, that may be coming. I was hoping to get to speak to Gary and John about this. They declined and said they're not ready to discuss the changes that's happening across Europe at this time, but might be able to say more later in the year around the time of IAPA Europe, which is being held in London in, I think, September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it will be interesting to see what will happen in terms of whether there will be more distributors for Stern Pinball or whether it will be sort of existing resellers now having a slightly lower price tag on their games.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and I guess being able to import what they think they can sell rather than what the sole importer wants them to sell.
Right. So.
And,
well,
also, one other point on that is I think it will also help with attendance at pinball shows across Europe, because rather than there being like the one distributor who probably doesn't attend the pinball show themselves and they just rely on their resellers to sell games. So you'll see, Pinball Universe at the Dutch show, but you won't see KMS there because why would they?
Right.
Now these companies can also bring in a lot more in terms of merchandise as well, and mods and toppers and all that kind of stuff, independently of anybody else. So, and I think that will probably be something which is expected of them as well, that they will up their game when it comes to promoting Stern Pinball at various big shows. So it could be good news for show attendees as well.
Right. Okay. So, any other activities that Gary Stern and or John Buscaglia were a part of while they were in London?
Well, they were planning to go down to the Pinball Republic Pinball Club in Croydon on Tuesday evening, but unfortunately, there's been a series of strikes on the London Underground at the moment by some drivers. So that wasn't possible because A, the trains weren't running, and B, the traffic was so bad as a consequence that it take like 2.5 hours for them to get from where they were near Electricoin down to Croydon, and it just wasn't going to happen. But obviously today, recording this on the Wednesday, the day of the Park Avenue Open Day, the day after, tomorrow, they are hoping to go down to Pinball Republic for the regular Thursday evening opening. So if you get to hear this in time, you should be able to pop down to Pinball Republic in Croydon if you are in the UK and somewhere near Croydon, and go and meet Gary Stern and John Buscaglia. And I don't think they're going to have the Transformers game down there for that, but they'll certainly be able to meet and greet all the people who turn up for the regular Thursday night league night, which there are quite a few. So,
right.
And then I think they're both flying back on Friday. So that's it.
Okay. Now, well, I guess that's all the news that we have from Stern Pinball. Besides, of course, our traditional new code corner.
Oh, this is the best bit, of all. Been quite a busy month. Along with the new game being launched, there's been 4 code updates. Pokemon, which before Transformers was the current game, that's up to version 0.82 as of the 6th of May. Quite a lot of rules added, new light shows, and blah blah blah. Existing rules changed, adjusted, and some extra standard features have been added. Things like competition mode and target game time and all that kind of stuff, along with the usual bug fixes. Walking Dead Remastered, that's still getting updates. Smallish one this time, just added the Fish Tank Frenzy Topper exclusive mode, and also the DJ mixer option, so to the player menu, holding both flipper buttons in at the start, so you can play the music tracks, along with a few bug fixes. John Wick, now this was interesting, version 1.01. This got a really big update, and has really gone a long way to satisfy the people who are complaining that the game didn't have all the features that it really should have had in version 1.0. Apparently, they only call it version 1.0 because they run out of numbers, and it wasn't ever going to be the full featured version. Well, version 1.01 came out on the 27th of May. That is much more fully featured. Has a mini wizard mode, a final wizard mode, lots more feedback to the player, lots more awards, 5 ways to earn an extra ball now compared to 2 that were there before. It took a long time to get there, but now looks, at least from a software perspective, like a much more fun game. And that's all down to Lonnie Ropp, who is the software lead on that and has been working his socks off, I think, to get this out. So kudos to him for his hard work on that game.
Right.
And finally, just yesterday, The Walking Dead Remastered got an update to version 0.92. They've rewritten the Crossbow Frenzy mode with new rules, graphics, sound and speech, added some additional display information, and tweaked a bit of scoring. And all these updates include a new version of the system software. It's version 4.25. I think, in fact, version 4.26 is in The Walking Dead Remastered. But this adds support for things like Tops Tournament, from the gameplay menu, holding the 2 buttons, and also adds various adjustments to the test menu settings in the machine settings category, so you can customize the screen colors, how the LED lamp tests work, and various other things. So look out for that coming to probably roll out to all the Spike 3 games, I expect, eventually. But it's finally giving the test menu a bit more customization, which is good, as well as adding the Tops Tournament mode. So if you have a Spike 3 game, that's probably going to be arriving over the next few months. And I think that's it for the software corner.
For Stern Pinball, that is.
Code corner.
Yes. The code corner, yes.
Yes.
So, and that's also all we have for Stern Pinball, like I said. And moving on to our second headline, we're at Wonderland Amusements, who started taking pre-orders for their second game, World of TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Battle in the Sewer. Now, I won't keep making the same joke again, but that's gotta smell bad.
That stinks, yes.
So, they extended Wonderland Amusement, that is, extended the $50 discount for Kickstarter backers of their Alice Goes to Wonderland by a week. So if you bought that game, you get a $50 discount if you purchase that game through Kickstarter, I believe.
That's right.
Still no official detailed playfield pictures or videos. There is a trailer video, but it doesn't show the final version of the game. But there will be 2 versions available. A standard edition, where have we heard that before? And a Turtle Power edition, which costs another $350 extra or more. Or $300 for pre-orders. It comes with 5 extra sculpts and an illuminated topper.
Yeah.
Now you know what happens with these toppers. Before you know it, they cost more than the game.
Yeah. Well, certainly some toppers cost more than this game.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So. Alice Goes to Wonderland buyers are discounted only on the standard edition. So keep that in mind if you're considering ordering the game. They expect the game to start shipping in October of 2026, but they're still only shipping to the United States and Canada at the moment.
Yeah, it says on their website if you're an international distributor and they're happy to talk to you about setting something up, but currently only, as you said, US and Canada, and only 110 volt ready at the moment.
So how come I don't read that on the Stern Pinball website that they are looking for new distributors in Europe? like we just discussed. I mean, at least Wonderland Amusement is actively announcing we're looking for distributors. Obviously, also because they don't have any, but
There
I
is
get
that.
that.
Yeah, you have to start
Yeah.
somewhere.
So right. So, but at least there's they make it public. We're looking for distributors, and oh well.
Yeah,
So,
probably not for this game,
and,
but maybe for future ones.
well, you never know how long they keep making them.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you
So,
can
and
still
then
buy
our
Alice
third,
games. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So, and then our third headline was regarding a new Arabian Nights pinball machine. Well, new is relatively speaking is more like a remake game, which has been anticipated for quite a while. I think even January of 2025, Pedretti already hinted at, because we're talking about Pedretti Gaming, hinted at Tales of the Arabian Night as a upcoming remake game from them, and then it's taken at least 18 months before we finally get the confirmation that it indeed they are planning to reveal Tales of the Arabian Night 2.0, or as their next remake game, similar to Funhouse, which is also a remake game. A prototype from the Euro Pinball Corporation game of Arabian Nights was photographed at the back, or from the back, I should say, at the Planetary Pinball facility in Sparks, Nevada. It has rear backbox lighting, which you see on televisions as well these days, and
Yeah, Ambilight. Yeah.
purple, yeah, purple legs and side rails, and it looks like it has Brian Allen cabinet artwork. Obviously, we couldn't see it from the front, so we don't know what the translite looks like, whether it has Brian Allen artwork as well.
Yeah.
So new remake announced, but we still, that's all we know. We don't even know when we're going to see that game. All we know that it's coming, and
and we don't know how many different versions there will be, or what the pricing is going to be,
no, all
or
we know,
availability. Yeah.
right? All we know is Pedretti have announced a Ligabue game last year. We don't know how many they are building of those, but that was a rethemed Queen game. They're currently not running any, as far as we know, Pinball Brothers games, which are also built in the same factory in Italy. I believe they're still building Funhouse, but you have to wonder, like, how much more Funhouses can you build, and at what point are they moving to the next game? Because they used to be running like 2 or 3 games at the same time, and as far as I can see right now, they're only building one.
Yeah, and that's been in production for quite some time. So
yeah, or maybe 2 with the Ligabue game, but we have no confirmation that that's actually being built right now.
Yeah, although when we spoke to Pinball Brothers, Daniel, he was saying that that EPC had a very packed schedule on their production, and it would be very hard to get any production time on the production line. They had so
Right.
much work to work through, but I don't know what they're building.
Yeah, well, me neither. So I do know what they're not building, but you had a big story on that. So I leave this up to you.
Yeah, it was just a post. I was contacted by Team Pinball about a post they were going to be putting out about work they'd done for Pedretti to remake the Big Bang Bar game. Yeah, I've been working with
Which is
them.
originally a Capcom game that was already
Yeah,
remade by Illinois Pinball, run by Gene Cunningham at the
Pinball
time.
Manufacturing Inc.
Yeah, that was in 2005, 2006,
And you were
somewhere
there.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely there.
Yeah.
I helped build most of these games, or at least the pre-production of most of these games.
Well, Pedretti had been working to remake Big Bang Bar. They've been working.
According to this post by
Yeah, I've
Team
had it
Pinball.
independently verified as well. They apparently the rights for that game are now owned by Melvin Brower Williams, and he was working with Pedretti to
Hmm.
bring the game to fruition, along with Team Pinball, to do some board design and coding for the game. Well, apparently there was falling out, with everybody basically, with Pedretti. So Melvin, first of all, split from the whole project, and then Team Pinball bought from Melvin a prototype game that he had made of a remake, so they could work on that, and which they did, and they sent it to Pedretti with the work that they'd done, and Pedretti apparently replaced the cabinet and the playfield on it with artworked versions of those, and then basically ended up severing with Team Pinball, and then refused to give them their prototype back, which Team Pinball had bought from Melvin. So basically, Team Pinball were out for the expenditure of buying that prototype and the work they'd done so far, and I guess any future royalties as well, which was part of the agreement. So at the moment, it seems like it's just Pedretti have a prototype game, and when that's going to come, if that's ever going to be made into a remake, and if so, when, we don't know. But it's certainly not the next title, as we already spoke about. So it's been some time in the making, and if it ever happens, it will probably be some time more before it actually does become available.
Right. So if you're a programmer and you're considering like, hey, I love programming pinball machines, well, don't do it just for the royalties, because if you get sacked, then you get nothing.
Yes, that's right.
And I'm not saying anybody got sacked, but if you're basically out of the project and then, or they decide not to use your code, then you did all the work for nothing. So make sure you get paid and get royalties as well.
Yes, because otherwise you end up having to employ a lawyer and try and sue, and that's never going to end well, is it?
No, most likely not. No.
No.
So
Anyway,
so I feel sorry for Team Pinball, how this has developed, and I wish them all the best. And I assume Pedretti has new programmers in place to make sure whatever they're working on gets coded.
yes, indeed, because bear in mind that now they are fully using the fast pinball board set for all their remakes, as they were for the Predator game, I think, from Pinball Brothers, and is intended for any future Pinball Brothers games that may come out. So it's different system to work on, but but a well understood one. Put it that way.
Right. Okay. So oh well, we'll have to wait and see if there will be any new announcements for programmers being hired, or maybe well, they're already collaborating with Pinball Brothers, so why not? I mean, I'm sure they have plenty on their own plate to take care of, but Daniel Jensen is also a programmer, so
yeah,
if he has some spare time left, then who knows what he might be coding.
Okay, let's move on and let's talk about American Pinball now, because it brings us back to Melvin Brow Williams, who we were just talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was at the Austrian Pinball Festival in May, in the middle of May.
Right. So are you, by the way.
I was, yeah, and he very kindly, as representative for American Pinball, was able to donate some posters, drinks, koozies, and pens for as gifts for the prize quiz I ran there. Stefan Riedler, who runs the Austrian Pinball Festival, or heads up the team who runs it, because there's a big team behind it. I'll talk about that more later. Asked me if I could do a quiz to give away some prizes. So had to dream up some questions very quickly on the
You did a quiz without me?
I know it wasn't that kind of quiz. It was a very different.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Yeah. I didn't even use any of our questions, but no, it's just a quick 30-minute filler. Anyway, we did that. Melvin was there as a guest, but didn't hold a seminar, unlike some of the other people who were there. And I did want to pin him down and try and record a "What's Cooking With" segment with him, which he agreed to do, but he was in and out and busy all the time. So we never actually got around.
He was in the kitchen preparing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Didn't get him that time. But
trying out his own recipe, making sure that he gets the right recipe across.
Well, we will see. We'll get to talk to him, I'm sure, before too long. Anyway, it won't be that long before we run into him again. So not this time, but soon, hopefully.
Right. Okay. But there's more from American Pinball, because they also announced a new game. Actually, we already knew that was coming.
Yes,
Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, last month they announced they're going to be the reimagined Circus Voltaire game. But there was very little detail there. In fact, there still is very little detail. Was announced along with the fact they were going to be remaking it. I think that was announced at the Texas Pinball Festival. But credit goes to Don's Pinball podcast, who took or published at least a picture taken at the Golden State Pinball Festival, where there was a poster from American Pinball about Circus Voltaire.
It just said, banner, to be more precise, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, canvas banner saying, "Get on our interest list. Only 771 ringmasters planned." I assume that means the entire game, rather than just the ringmaster. But it's an interesting number. We don't know where that number comes from, how it relates to how many of those will be reimagined versions of the game, or how many will be just straight up remakes, which is the other version they're going to be making. So Melvin did say previously they wanted to just do a run of them and then move on to the next game and not keep them as a continuing product line like they do with Houdini or Galactic Tank Force. So basically, one run and done, and that's it, and move on to the next remake. But 771 seems to be the magic number for that. And so if you do want to get on the interest list, I guess you have to contact or go to the American Pinball website and see who you need to speak to, or speak to your distributor for American Pinball and get your name on a list if you fancy being having a Circus Voltaire either remake or reimagined version.
Right. So, and in the meantime, American Pinball have been building and shipping their limited run of 100 Houdini 100th anniversary edition games with the new artwork by Christopher Frenchy and playfield sculpts.
Yeah. So only 100 of those are going to be made. 2 of them, which we reported from Texas Pinball Festival, were actually given away. Whether that's 2 out of the 100 or whether they're separate 2, I don't know. But they are building them, and they look very nice. So congratulations to those people who got one of the 100.
Right. Okay. And that rounds it up for American Pinball. Still to come, Barrels of Fun, we're going to be talking about them. Spooky Pinball, Jersey Jack Pinball, Pinball Brothers we already briefly discussed. Dutch Pinball, but right now we're continuing with Hexa Pinball from France.
Yes, they too were at the Austrian Pinball Festival in Mocklerbrook in the middle of the last month, the month of May, which we are looking at here, of course. They were showing the Three Musketeers game. They had that alongside.
This time it was there.
It was there, yes. A bit easier to get it to that show than it was to the Texas show. You had 2 Space Hunt games as well. Alice from Hexa did a short presentation about the game and how the company's unique approach to building them, and with an emphasis on on their unique playfield manufacturing technique and how that allows them to create any shape inserts they choose. Alice's talk is available in the Pinball News Austrian Pinball Festival report and on the YouTube channel as well. I think it's probably fallen off the Twitch channel by now, but certainly go to Pinball News videos on YouTube. You'll be able to watch that and all the other talks that we'll come to a little bit later from the Austrian Pinball Festival. It's interesting to note that they are also taking the game to the Southwest Flipper Festival in Pontac in France this weekend on the 6th, 7th of June, where they will be running the Three Musketeers tournament. So I hope the software has improved a bit over the version they had at the Austrian Pinball Festival, because on that the sound would often either disappear or have unusual volume changes, and game needed to be restarted a few times during the day in order to solve those problems and other problems too. So yeah, it was an interesting game to play and interesting rule set to finally get to play it. But yeah, it certainly did have some issues, and but this does have some interesting features in there which I haven't seen before, like holding in the start button to vary the strength of the initial plunge, and the light bars at the side growing in length the longer you hold it and the stronger the plunge is. So that's an interesting feature, and also the whole lighting looked very good. I mean, we commented on that before, but didn't really get to experience all the features of it yet, because I think the software is still at a fairly early stage. But and also some of the call-outs and things need more fleshing out, and but there's work to do. But nice to actually get to play it after not being able to play it, as you said, at the Texas show.
Right.
Don't think there's any other news from Hexa Pinball, so I just recommend go and watch the video from Alice on the Pinball News Videos YouTube channel, or read the report from the show.
Right. On pinballnews.com.
Indeed.
Right. Okay. So then moving on to Barrels of Fun, and I have a feeling I have to leave this one to you as well, because they had all 3 Barrels of Fun games at the Austrian Pinball Festival as well.
Yeah, they did. Now, when we've been to pinball shows, you pretty much used to there being permanently long lines to play, certainly Winchester Mystery House, but also Dune and Labyrinth 2. But it was very refreshing with so many games set up in the free play area at the Austrian Pinball Festival. There were most of the time there was one person playing any of these games, and sometimes those games were not being played at all. So you could just walk over and play a game, which was
sounds like they need more audience, more visitors.
Well, maybe, but on the other hand, it would you kind of get the same kind of vibe that you do at the Pinball at the Beach, where they limit the number of people there, so you do get a chance to play these games rather than having the long lines all the time. But this was not deliberately limited, but it was the very first Austrian Pinball Festival, so it's something that's going to grow, not next year, but we'll come to that, but in future years.
Right.
So I was going to say, to put things in perspective, most games had no lines, So because there were so many of them, so it's which is a good event if you want to play lots of pinball. And on the other hand, there were so many tournaments being run at the event that a lot of people were tied up with those, which was partly, I guess, why the free play area was less packed than you might expect.
Okay. So if you're ever planning to attend the Austrian pinball festival, get ready to play some pinball because chances are you have more games to choose from than you
Yeah, and also
expect.
it was like 5 days long as well. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to play a particular game, there's no rush. You've got all the time in the world really to get to play it. And because it was open from like 10 o'clock in the morning till at least midnight, if not later,
Right.
there were plenty of hours to play all the games, which I guess is pretty much an ideal situation as a player. You can play everything at your leisure.
Right. So, okay.
But going back to barrels of fun.
Yes, indeed. A slight detour there.
Yes.
But yes, what I've understood is, and I've seen the photos that prove it, David Van Ness, the CEO or whatever
Chief
his title
mischief
is.
maker, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't get that out of my mouth because I didn't remember exactly what it was. But has attended the licensing show, the licensing expo in Las Vegas. And so have other pinball manufacturers, namely Spooky and Jersey Jack Pinball. And well, if you're interested in what they might have um, been shopping for, so to speak, then you can take a look at the list of exhibitor at licensingexpo.com. And there you can start speculating on suggestions, rumors, and what have you about the future pinball licenses that we might be seeing in a couple of years. Because let's not forget that it takes a couple of years to develop a game,
or longer in some cases.
Well, in some cases longer even, and well, in case of barrels, which were what we're talking about here is, I think they have a couple of games already in the pipeline, which means also years of production schedules. If they start working on a new license today, it will probably take 5 years before we get to see that game.
It could be, but yeah. Interestingly, when I was talking to Gary Stern today about licensing, and I was saying I expect you went to the licensing expo show. He said no. He said he doesn't do that kind of thing any longer, and it's now Seth and Jody who look after all the licenses at Stern. So Gary wasn't even at the licensing expo show and hasn't been there for a couple of years. So,
well, that explains Transformers, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's the saying, now, his era and to an extent my era as well of themes and are not the kind of licenses that they're looking at a younger demographic. And so we've got Jody and I say Seth, who are both probably younger than us. So they are the ones who are making decisions about what licenses they're going to buy.
Right. Okay. But getting back to barrels of fun.
Yes.
Any chance they released some new code last month?
Well, funny you should mention that, but no. Oh yeah, hang on. Yes, they did. Yes. In fact, two games got it. First of all, Dune got a version on the new version on the 13th of May. Not really any new features, but did fix quite a list of bugs. On the other hand, Winchester Mystery House got an update 2 weeks later on the 28th of May, and that did add a couple of new modes to it. Sarah's new Sarah's bedroom mode, the possession, and new Hall of Fires mode, ashes in the walls, I should say. Also added several new light shows, and quite a few bugs were fixed in that game too. So yes,
Okay.
those games are getting quite regular updates now, which is good to see.
Yes, indeed, it is. So okay, and that rounds it up for Barrels of Fun.
Yeah.
So, do we have any news on Multimorphic?
No, fellow Texan manufacturers, but no news at all yet on what their next title is going to be. I mean, it's been 15 months since Portal was launched, so we just saying it's probably around about the time we'd hope to see something new coming out from them.
Well, they're still building Portal, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that production was well, a little bit delayed, I would say.
yeah, but I think it
And
proved
there's
to be very popular though. So
yeah, well, that's a good thing.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So, oh well. So if hold on. Moving on to if there's no other news from Multimorphic,
Don't
then
think
I
so.
suppose we can. Moving on to Spooky Pinball.
Yeah, why not? Well, as you mentioned, they were at the Licensing Expo, but also attended the Golden State Pinball Show in Lodi in California.
Mm-hmm.
Not exhibiting themselves, but I think one of their representatives, one of their distributors was. Um, Going back to Austrian Pinball Festival again, they had the full lineup of spooky games there, including Beetlejuice, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and the giant inflatable Beetlejuice as well that we saw at Texas. I think that probably the same height inflatable model turned up partway through the Austrian Pinball Festival show, which kind of dwarfed the up until then seemingly very large Pikachu model that was inflatable one, which was next to the Pokemon games. But so everyone's got to now have an inflatable model of to promote their games from this point onwards. It seems.
Right. Okay.
So,
Well, you know what's even cooler? An inflatable topper.
oh, I like it. You could put the fan that's in the back box to some use and use it to inflate things.
Yeah, exactly.
Patent pending.
So, oh well, if that's all for Spooky
I
Pinball,
think
then
so.
well, it's a short bridge, I would say, to Jersey Jack Pinball, as Jack was also at the licensing expo in Las Vegas.
I like what you did there.
Yeah. And well, Jersey Jack Pinball have been heavily teasing Steve Ritchie's upcoming game, which is widely believed to be based on the Sonic the Hedgehog character from Nintendo. I think it's fair to say that it's going to be Sonic, even in the way it was. Steve Ritchie was promoted was sort of a reference to images of Sonic. I'm not even sure from whether it was a movie poster or whatever, but
yeah, backlit, should we say?
Yeah, with a blue backdrop or whatever.
Halo around it. Yeah.
Yeah. So so let's assume it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that.
And let's assume Steve Ritchie is the next designer, or the designer of this game. The game, according to Jersey Jack, will be revealed in June, but we don't know when in June.
Well, we can rule out the first 3 days because it hasn't been revealed yet.
Yeah. So now Stern are premiering Transformers at the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show in Tacoma, and that is in
this weekend,
Washington
I think.
State.
Yeah.
At the start of the month, this weekend. Yeah. I'm not sure whether Jersey Jack Pinball would want or need to go head to head with Stern in competing for attention for that game, or taking away sales, as some people in the industry think that it works. Although there are plenty of people who buy every brand's game, and I mean that doesn't matter. So So that sort of leaves me wondering, when do we get to see this presumably Sonic the Hedgehog game to appear at a major show, or which show will be the first one to have that new Jersey Jack game, which is about to be revealed somewhere this month.
Yeah, there's normally a sort of lull during the summer months where for major pinball shows, and then things start picking up again towards September time. I think Jack said in the past that he doesn't necessarily feel the need to launch a game at a show. Not sure whether that was done with Harry Potter. Don't think so. Somebody better correct me on that. But
I have no recollection at all.
No.
On about that game. I have been informed that Steve's game is already on the line at Jersey Jack. Meaning they are still building Harry Potter, of course, but there's a second line which is currently building, from what I believe, distributor games, so that once the game is announced, distributors will already have them in their shops or warehouses or wherever, so people can actually either or operators can play them or decide whether they want one for their location or whatever. But from what I understand is they're currently building games to have games all over the US and possibly also in Europe as soon as it is announced.
Yeah, well, it's certainly an alternative way to launching it at a show, isn't it? To have the games out there and for people to try, but at the distributor where you can actually buy it, rather than being at a major show, so people can schedule their own time to go and visit their distributor and check out the games, and of course having them all over the country and indeed all over the world is much more gives a much wider audience than just having it one single show in one location. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a good way of doing it, and also I think it kind of adds a certain sort of exclusivity to those people who do buy it, because to have that game in your home when most people wouldn't have had the opportunity to go to a show and play it. If you've gone to a show and so many thousand people have played the game already before you get your game at home. Mm-hmm. But if you buy it first before it's been at a show, then you have that that early opportunity to know the game before other people do. So it's a different marketing technique, and but I think it could work.
Right. Well, we'll have to see. I do recall Jack indicating that he similar to Harry Potter, he played the prototype game, and he said, "Don't buy anything until you played Steve's next game." So, and that's sort of becoming a catchphrase for upcoming Jersey Jack games, I suppose, at least for the second title in a row. That is. Now,
it takes over from the old adage that Jack's played it and he likes it, which always used to be the seal of approval for any game.
Right. Okay. So now, usually we don't do rumors.
Oh no, definitely not.
No. We stick to the facts.
Yes.
Now the fact is that there's this rumor going around.
Is it a fact?
Well, actually, we started a rumor about Mark Siden's game last year, which we've discussed a couple of times already, where we loosely, or I should say, loosely hinted at that it could have been, all I said was there was a reason why Stern Pinball is not doing a Vault edition of Ghostbusters. And that was already enough to spark a little rumor that Mark Seiden would be working on, or just Jack would be working on a Ghostbusters game. But there's a new rumor. For some time, it's already been rumored that Mark Seiden's game will be a music-themed pin. And the latest rumor is that that theme would be Michael Jackson.
Yes.
Theme-wise, well, yeah, a little bit. Although not to everybody, I suppose. There's plenty of people who will only care about the music, and not so much his private life, I suppose, unless that's really part of the game. Which
I can't see that somewhere.
Neverland.
No, let's not even speculate on this. No. No good will come of it. So, yes.
But it's just a rumor. It could be interesting. Could it be a title that I would see Jack taking on for Jersey Jack? Well, the name is big enough, but it's also a controversial title. It could be interesting. On the other hand, too many ballads in Michael Jackson's repertoire, I would say. But there's probably about a dozen danceable songs that would make sense. Oh, yeah. And then again, Guns N' Roses had ballads too, and that worked very well in Guns N' Roses games. So, well.
Anyway, that is it's a fact that that's a rumor, right?
Yes.
Okay. Good, because we wouldn't want to do rumors that are just rumors.
No. I still like Ghostbusters better, but
yeah.
So anyway,
moving on. We'll see what other rumors we can start.
Sure. So, well, here's one to start. What would Pinball Brothers currently be working on?
Well, is there a fact about what a rumor is about that game?
I think there is a rumor for a fact.
Oh, a rumor for a fact. Okay, so is it a fact or a rumor that they're working on the Fifth Element?
I think it's a factual rumor.
Okay. Well, there you are. Take it or leave it then. We haven't had an announcement about what their next game is after Predator, because Predator sales finished at the end of March, I believe.
Right. I'm curious whether they're still building ABBA games or Queen games, for that matter. Because those licenses have, as far as I know, not expired. I'm just not sure how big the demand is.
Yeah.
Although based on the names of these groups, you would say that should be huge.
Yeah, I suspect there'd be a small dribble of orders for those games, but not large numbers. But they could probably fill those from stock. I imagine they're hardly going to put it back onto production line unless they have a smaller line. They can just do small runs of these games.
Right.
But then if they're doing the Liga Boer game in Pedretti, then that is effectively a Queen game. So rethemed. So maybe it's not that difficult to run some Queen games at the same time.
Right. So, and I also wonder what happened to that alternative backlash for Queen that was shown at Expo, but I've never seen it actually as an option or an add-on for your game. Maybe it didn't get approved. I don't know. So probably the case.
You're surprised. It was really the band logo, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The crest. Yeah.
Yes. So, well. Then moving on to Cardona Pinball, who are actually building game kits in this case, I would say.
Yeah, well, last month we announced that they were going to be building Fishtails, the Ultimate Fishing Challenge kit, as a sort of 2.0 upgrade to the original Fishtails game. Mm-hmm. Well, now they have.
So you have to own. Yes. You have to own the game already.
Yes, or buy one.
Upgrade it. Yes.
Yes, that's right. So it would be like a new control system. I think it's fast pinball boards go in the game. New display panel, new back glass. Same playfield, I think. Where adds an LCD display to not just the display panel, but also where the fishing. I can't remember what it's called. The panel on the left that has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times LEDs or lamps in it for when you do the monster fish thing. Yeah, so that they had an initial $200 discount on orders for Fishtails: The Ultimate Fishing Challenge, which has now expired. So if you didn't get in on that, the price is now $2,200 US. The kit will, apart from being available from Cardona Pinball Design, it'll also be available from CoinTaker, who will be stocking it. So that's an alternative purchase option for you. Gameplay videos are available on the Cardona Pinball Design Facebook and YouTube channels, so you can actually see the game in action for yourself. Interesting, we mentioned before they also did a No Good Gophers kit and a Black Rose kit. Well, Cardona Pinball say they've only have James Cardona says they only have one No Good Gophers kit left. And after that, they have no plans to make any more of those since the license has expired for that license, I guess, from Planetary Pinball. They also have a handful, is the phrase used, of Black Rose kits, but again, the license for that one has expired as well. So once they're gone, they're gone. Unless there's a sudden surge in demand that causes them to renegotiate the license. But so if you want to get either of those two kits, the No Good Gophers or the Black Rose kits, now's the time to get it before they're all gone. But in the meantime, Fishtails: The Ultimate Fishing Challenge is the new kit, and as I say, available from Cardona themselves and also from CoinTaker. And that's it, I think, from Cardona Pinball Design.
Okay.
So
then,
yeah, nearer your home, what's going on with Barry and co at Dutch Pinball?
Well, I texted Barry this afternoon to find out about some rumors I had heard, and he was busy today. He said he'd be happy to talk to me tomorrow.
Okay. Well, big news in next month's PINcast then.
Probably, yeah. So, but no, officially no news. From what I understand, quite a few people are still waiting on their topper for their Alice Adventures in Wonderland game.
Yes.
But, well, it's Dutch Pinball, so on a positive note, they always seem to come through at the end. Although, well, the end isn't the end, but still. But so it might take a while, but
it already has.
Topper in the end. Yeah, well, you know how long I waited for my Lebowski game, right?
True.
That was like a decade.
Yes.
And no kidding. So, but eventually I got my game. So, and I did run into Rens, who is sort of a spokesperson, at least online, for Dutch Pinball. And of course, our talk was completely off the record.
Of course. Right, moving on then.
And of course, he didn't spill any beans. I think I am allowed to say that I think they're expecting to finish the production of Alice Adventures in Wonderland this summer. And I'm not going to pin it down on a month because, well, it's summer and you never know how that goes with holidays and what have you.
Yeah, well, it's now officially summer, so now we're in June. So over the next 3 months, then.
That seems reasonable to aim for. So, and well, I got at the Texas Pinball Festival, I got a I think it was a sticker from Chris from CoinTaker of the Big Lebowski. There is one prototype only that has artwork by Christopher Frenchy, and well, that's a one-off, I suppose. But since there are hardly any photos of it, I was very happy with that sticker that has that image on it. So I mentioned that to Rance, and I was like, "So, any chance you guys are getting approval to use that artwork and take Lebowski back into production?"
Do like a Houdini, then.
Yeah, something like that. And I think he said something like that. Not everybody in the company is a fan of that artwork. So if they would be considering doing a remake of The Big Lebowski or a rerun or what have you, it would definitely not be with that artwork. So, and I think that's all the news that I got out of him. So it's not very much, but make of that what you want.
Did you get the impression that they might put the Big Lebowski back on the line?
I guess that depends on how far along are they with their rumored to be the next title, Back to the Future game.
Yes.
If that's ready to go into production, I don't see why they would need to be building more Lebowski games. But if for whatever reason that game is not ready to go into production, they might need something to keep the line busy.
I've been working. I guess I've been working on the next title for a good number of years now. So you'd like to think it would be in a position to go into production when they're ready. But
well, you also have to order all your parts up front, and well, yeah. So well, that's how a pinball company works. So we don't need to tell them how it works.
No, indeed. Okay, so that's what we do know about Dutch Pinball. Now we also know about a number of other companies, and unfortunately, what we know is that there was no news from them this month, or at least in the month of
so
May.
We're going to make this very short then.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We have no news from the following companies. Here we go: Chicago Gaming,
Turner Pinball,
Ramps Pinball,
Vector Pinball.
That's Australia, that is. Killdozer Studios,
Bitronic in Spain. I did check, although Super Hoop and Tokyo Perfect Drift games were both at the Austrian Pinball Festival, just to throw that in. Not news from them, but they're available to play.
Right, okay. No news from Homepin either.
No news from Pinball Adventures in Canada.
Yeah. No news from Quetzal, which is sort of related to Bitronic, I would say. Yeah.
So those are companies we don't have news from.
Yeah, and then we already cut a few from the list that we haven't had any news from for years and so on.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Just a little.
Is there any other news?
Well, just to hark back to talking about the Austrian Pinball Festival, which, as I mentioned, took place in Vöcklabruck, middle of May. Special guests there included Eric Meunier, famed designer, of course. Aaron Davis, also famed for Fast Pinball founder, co-founder. Hexa Pinball, as you mentioned, they were there. The first three of those all did talks, Eric, Aaron, and Hexa. So you can catch those videos, as mentioned before. So Melvin Brow-Williams was there, of course. I was there. Aaron was talking with Brian Madden, teamed up with Brian Madden, founder of the Mission Pinball Framework, which an awful lot of games are built on, whether they're using the Fast Pinball or using other hardware systems. And so they're basically there to rhapsodize about how good it is to build your own homebrew game, and how easy it now is, and how you need to come up with an idea and then start working with like-minded individuals to realise it. And there's a good selection of homebrew games there as well. And Aaron, Melvin, Brian, Stefan, and myself sat down and had a talk about which games, and Eric as well, I should say, talk about which one was the best homebrew game of the show, and we decided it's Deep Blue Rage. So we gave that one the award. So well done for that particular game, which was very innovative in numerous different ways.
I assume there are photos of that on your
Of course,
in your report,
and in the video as well, of course. Stefan, organizer, Stefan Riedler, rounded up a nice selection of prizes for the quiz, which I, as I said, I quickly did it and got our audience members to shout out answers to try to get the right number. Most of them were number based. So try to get people to shout out the right number or get as close to it as possible, and then I'll just give the prize away. Assisted there very much by Marcel van Kessel, of course, organiser of the Dutch Pinball Open Expo, which is being held in November in near Utrecht. And so definitely worth going there, where you and I will be there, of course, doing our proper quiz, where we'll have lots more prizes to give away. Which are actually in the process of collecting even now, and we'll pick up a bunch more from Pinball Expo in October. Unfortunately, there won't be an Austrian Pinball Festival next year, as the dates that they could book the hall for clash with a large show in Germany being held by the German Pinball Association, not that far away. So all efforts are going towards that show. But the Austrian Pinball Festival will return for its second outing in 2028. So I certainly hope to be back for that, and hope you can make it as well, because it's quite a show. I would say if you're not aware of it, then go and read the report and look at the pictures and the videos.
I hear there's plenty of possibility to play pinball, and not so much, not just long lines.
I heard somebody mention that. Yeah, it might have been us just now, but it certainly was the case. I think that pretty much wraps it up from
no,
other
I don't
news.
think so.
You got more?
Actually, you do.
Do I? Oh, what have I got?
Right. Well, while you were in Austria, I do believe that you were able to talk to Eric Meunier of Jersey Jack Pinball.
Of course.
And you wanted to find out what's cooking with Eric Meunier.
Absolutely.
Didn't you?
I did indeed. Yes, Eric was kind enough to sit down and in a rather echoey back room there, so we could talk about not just what's cooking with him, but also what his impressions of the show were, and how the game and his seminar about it went. And anyway, the key point was we wanted to find out his favourite recipe, and here he is. So to find out what's cooking with Eric Meunier. We are joined here by famed pinball designer Eric Meunier of Jersey Jack Pinball, who is here with me at the Austrian Pinball Festival, the very first Austrian Pinball Festival. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to ask the famed question: what's cooking with Eric Meunier?
Yeah. So there's a recipe that I really enjoy making, that I enjoy bringing to parties, and there's two different variants for it. One of them is if you have a lot of time, you can make it one way.
Right.
It requires about a day to prepare.
Wow. Okay.
And the other one you can make in about 2 hours. So let's start with the short one. The recipe is jalapenos, fresh jalapenos.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right. Cream cheese. Spices that include things like brown sugar, garlic, onion powder.
Any sort of chili or anything in there?
Some chili powder is good. Something to give it a little bit of kick.
Yeah.
And then we want, let's see, the outside is bacon. So,
right. Okay.
The term that I've heard them described as is called an atomic buffalo turd. All right. So what you do is you cut open the top of the jalapeno. You stuff it with your cream cheese and spices. Those are mixed together. You can add more cheese to it, something like a Mexican blend of cheese. That can help quite a bit. If you want, you can add chorizo to it, which can also help. And again, this is going to be something that can be prepared quickly. You wrap it in bacon, and one of the key points is to use toothpicks to spear through it, so you hold the bacon on so it doesn't slip off. And then it's often best, if you have the proper device, you can put it inside your smoker, which is where you want to do this, but you want them to rest vertically so that as they're cooking, the cream cheese doesn't all pour out. Right? If you lay it on its side, cream cheese will all melt out. So you stick them vertically, upright, and smoke them for about 2 hours at 225, and they come out with the bacon crispy. 2 hours. And the cream cheese nice and gooey, and it adds this wonderful smoky flavor. If your fan base that is eating these is a fan of spicy food, when you're cutting open the jalapenos, you can leave in the seeds and stems, or you can mix them back in. If your people who are going to be consuming this are not fans of really spicy food, you clean out all of the seeds and all of the stems from your jalapenos, and that makes it much more palatable. So, like, even people who don't like spicy food can enjoy this because it's not going to burn as long as you get rid of the seeds and stems. Now, if you have an entire weekend to prepare, right, what you do, and now this elevates it to a level. There's a restaurant in Texas, near the Texas Pinball Festival, that serves what's called the Texas Twinkie, which is a variant of this recipe, right? So it's this same recipe. It's the jalapeno, it's the cream cheese, it's the bacon, and then inside, instead of chorizo, you have brisket. So you cook brisket, right? You smoke your brisket, use your proper spices for preparing your brisket. You slice it up into very small pieces, and you mix that in with your cream cheese. And put that back in the jalapeno.
It's in place of chorizo.
In place of the chorizo. And then you smoke that with the same temperature. And next time you're at Texas Pinball Festival and you go over to Hard 8, make sure you order yourself a Texas Twinkie.
I've been there several times.
And you'll see why this is a recipe for the ages. It's certainly not what you would consider health food by any means, but it's one of those. We're going to go to a barbecue, we're going to have a good time, and we're going to have something that's a unique flavor.
I mean, is it small enough it's like finger food and it's just something you nibble on?
It can be. So certainly you can get, smaller size 1-inch jalapenos, right, that have a little bit in them, or you can get monster jalapenos. When you go to Hard 8, you're getting a monster-sized jalapeno, right? Of
course, everything's bigger in Texas.
Right. I mean, that thing is a meal unto itself. I think it costs $8 for just one of these things, right? So it's a lot. But I've prepared them several times where I cut the jalapeno in half and lay it on its side, but try to leave a lip made from the bacon so that you can rest and everything doesn't pour out. So they can be smaller size. I've made them for my wife's book club, and they go over very, very well with her and her lady friends. Most prefer the milder version, and that's what I would recommend if you're bringing it to a party where you don't know everyone. Right, I'd make it the milder version.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Eric.
Of course.
Now, we are here at the very first Austrian Pinball Festival. It's an interesting show, and I'm sure you'll be pretty impressed by what you've seen so far. But what's your impression of the Austrian Pinball Festival 2026?
Yeah, I really like the way the hall is laid out. It's got a lot of space. It has a really good variety of games, right? So you're not seeing duplicates and triplicates of everything. There are enough different games from every manufacturer that you can play some of the stuff that you might not have been exposed to before, right? So like every Jersey Jack game is here. All of the spooky games, all of the Barrels of Fun games, everything is here, playable, set up, working, and it's It's really great.
And the games seem to be quite available to play. There's not long lines behind any of them.
Yep.
Which is quite surprising.
Yeah,
when you come to some of the other shows, there's 10 or 12 people waiting to play the latest title.
Right. I think a lot has to do with how many games there are and such a wide variety. And we're seeing games now, as an American, there's games here that I haven't seen in the U.S. at any of the shows that I've been to. Right?
Yeah.
And I've got to experience some games from European manufacturers that don't make it overseas. I've got to experience quite a few of the really unique home brews that people don't, of course, bring over to the U.S. It's very hard to bring a game across the ocean. So it's been really fun to see what some of the people on this side of the pond are making with passion, right? And not for a major manufacturer. So that's been really cool, and getting to talk to a lot of these people, because it's an event where I'm not working at a booth. I'm not...
You're not representing the company particularly
24/7, right? So I get to hang out, I get to spend time, I get to play games with people, and hear their story and what brings them to pinball. So I've really enjoyed this show. I really enjoyed the people and the environment, and it's a fun place.
So just talking briefly about your current game, which is obviously the Harry Potter game, which has done so well for the company and has been a big success and been so well received. I think in every version of it that's been produced. That is still on the line, I'm guessing. And
it is.
But of course, you will be working on your next title already.
Absolutely.
And Jersey Jack Pinball will be launching a new game fairly soon.
Correct. Yeah.
So are you still doing development are you still looking at what's happening with Harry Potter, still identifying any things which you might change later or might come into play later or even in your next game?
Sure. There's always a list of nice to haves on a game, right? But there's also a certain amount of resources that you're allowed to apply to a project. Right now, Harry Potter is considered done by Jersey Jack. Of course, if we find bugs, which have happened, we have our beta group that will tell us, and we'll read stuff online. If hey, there's a bug here, we found one recently on 125, we patched it in 126, and that's the only update that happened on 126, and it was a stupid 2-minute update, but it was
one of those things that sneaks through.
It was one of those things where it's like it was this mode and it was taking priority over this other thing. And is that what we wanted? No. But is it something that was exhaustively tested and found? No, because we wouldn't. Who'd have thought it would happen?
It was edge cases, really.
It was an edge case, and a fan brought it up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that does suck. And then we reproduced it. I'm like, yeah, that's not fun. Let's fix it, and we did. There are, like I said, those things that would be nice to haves in the game, and maybe when there's a rainy day, myself or Joe will get in a room and we'll be like, hey, let's see if we can do X, Y, and Z. But the game is 100% complete. All rules, all modes,
everything's in it,
right?
You intend to have
all the voice, all the animation, all of the movie clips, like all that stuff is there. And guys like me and Joe, as fun as Potter is, and we love the game, Joe and I have been on other projects for almost a year at this point. There's
is that all?
There's more to do, right? So we're 3 games ahead of what the public sees.
Yes.
At any time, and working on the next thing. So we are both actively involved in Steve's game. We're both actively involved in Mark's game, and then him and I are heading another project ourselves. Yeah. And it's there's always new games and more stuff. And again, Harry Potter is very close to both of us, and we're always open to what people say and their feedback, and we listen. And if there are improvements that are deemed necessary by the company, of course we make them. And if there are improvements that are deemed necessary by me and Joe, we find time to make them.
You must be very proud of the way that the game's turned out, though, and the reception it's received, and the sales that it's garnered as well as a result of that.
Absolutely.
When you come to a show come to any show, and you see all the games there, you see all the boxes all stacked up, saying Jersey Jack Pinball, and all stacked with Harry Potter, and the various different editions on them. It must give you a very warm feeling to think, that's my game.
It is a very good feeling when a game strikes true on all levels, right? So like the layout is of course my primary responsibility. Software is Joe's primary responsibility, and we work together so closely, right? He's shooting the whitewood and he's giving feedback. I'm shooting the rules and I'm giving feedback, and then the mechanics being done by Dan Lachek. We're all such a close group that we give honest feedback to each other, and all of us strive to make the game as good as possible. And when we come to a show and we just have hundreds of fans saying how much they love the game and how it's not just the layout, it's not just the rules and the animations and the sound, but the whole package comes together, it's a very rewarding feeling.
And of course, you will be doing a presentation tomorrow.
I will.
About the making of that game, ahead of the launch of the next game and your next game, which will be a little while yet, I'm guessing. But anyway, in the meantime, thank you very much for joining us on What's Cooking With, Mr. Eric Winnier, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Martin, for recording this.
Thank you for reminding me. I've forgotten all about it. There's so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, thank you very much. Thank you, Eric, as well, for sharing his thoughts on the show and his recipe, of course.
Absolutely. Good to be able to sit down with him and talk.
Now you get to say that this finally rounds it up for our recap of the month of May 2026. We hope you've enjoyed this look back.
Yes, indeed. And we will be back at the start of July. My goodness, can you imagine July? We'll be back at the start of July with our next PINcast, which will look back at all the events in the pinball industry throughout this exciting month of June, because it is going to be exciting.
Will include a new game review, most likely being Sonic the Hedgehog.
Wow. Yes.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yes, and that will keep many people busy, including us. So anyway, we'll have that and all details of everything else that's happened in the pinball industry throughout the month. So until then, from me, Martin Ebb of Pinball News.
And me, Jonathan Houston of Pinball Magazine.
We hope you have a truly joyous June and look forward to joining you again next month for the next edition of the Pinball Industry News PINcast. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.